Marcus drove his old truck down a winding dirt road, the tires crunching over gravel as the sun dipped low on the horizon. He was leaving the city behind for good, trading the constant noise and bright lights for the unknown quiet of the countryside. The farmhouse on the hill looked abandoned, its windows like empty eyes staring out over the fields. But Marcus felt a flicker of hope deep inside. He unloaded his few belongings, each box a reminder of the life he'd left behind, determined to make this place his own. The air was crisp, the silence deep, almost too deep, as if the land itself was holding its breath, waiting to see what he would do next. Inside, the house was musty and cold, dust swirling in the single shaft of light that cut through the gloom, illuminating forgotten corners. Marcus set up a mattress, a lamp, and some food, creating a small island of comfort in the empty room. He tried to ignore the creaks and groans of the old structure, the way the floorboards seemed to sigh beneath his feet. As night fell, the silence grew heavier, pressing in from every corner, making the house feel even larger and emptier. He told himself it was just the isolation, just the age of the house, nothing more than old wood settling. But as he lay down, he couldn't shake the feeling that the house was waiting for him, watching him with silent curiosity. The wind rattled the windows, and the shadows seemed to shift and dance along the walls, never quite settling. Marcus tried to sleep, telling himself tomorrow would be better, that he'd wake up to a new day and a fresh start. He was finally free, and nothing would ruin his new beginning. Not fear, not loneliness, not even the strange quiet of the night. Yet, as he drifted off, the house seemed to hold its breath, as if waiting for something to happen. The darkness felt alive, watching, and Marcus wondered if he was truly alone. He shivered, blaming the cold. But deep down he knew it was more than just the chill in the air. This was his home now, a place to rebuild and rediscover himself, no matter what secrets it held. He would make it work. He had to. And as the night deepened, Marcus promised himself he wouldn't give up, no matter how strange things felt. Before moving in, Marcus stopped at the village store. The old shopkeeper's smile vanished when Marcus mentioned the farmhouse. "Some places are better left alone," the man whispered. A nervous woman warned him. "No one stays there long. The house doesn't like visitors." Marcus dismissed their warnings as superstition. He paid for his groceries, feeling their eyes on his back. As he left, he heard the old man mutter, "It always gets them." Annoyed, Marcus drove away, determined to prove them wrong. He'd fix up the house and show everyone it was just wood and nails. But as the farmhouse loomed on the horizon, the warning echoed in his mind. The house doesn't like visitors. That first night, Marcus listened to the house settle. Creaks, groans, the wind howling outside. He tried to ignore the sense of being watched. Shadows from the trees danced on the ceiling, twisting into strange shapes. He got up, peered out the window, and saw only his own reflection, until, for a split second, he thought he saw a dark shape behind him. Spinning around, he found nothing. He left a lamp on, hoping the light would chase away his unease. But the house's noises changed, sounding less random, more like footsteps and faint scratching in the walls. Marcus squeezed his eyes shut, telling himself it was just the wind. But a cold fear began to take root. He tried to sleep, but the silence pressed in. The house felt awake. He was not alone. Not really. The second night, Marcus woke to a slow, deliberate tapping from downstairs. The sound echoed through the old house, each tap growing louder in his imagination, as if the walls themselves were amplifying the noise just for him. It wasn't the wind or a branch. Someone, or something, wanted his attention. The air felt heavy, thick with anticipation, and Marcus's heart pounded as he strained to listen for any other sign of movement. He lay frozen until sunrise, unable to move, his mind racing with possibilities. Every creak and groan of the house seemed to whisper warnings he couldn't quite understand. The next day, he found fresh scratches on the inside of the front door, long, thin, as if something had tried to get out. The marks hadn't been there before, and they sent a chill down his spine. Later, a shadow flickered across the living room wall, but no one was there. The shape was unmistakable, moving with purpose, vanishing the moment he tried to focus on it. By the fourth night, Marcus barely slept, haunted by glimpses of movement and a face in the bathroom mirror that wasn't his. The reflection would linger, staring back with hollow eyes, before dissolving into mist. On the fifth day, a perfect circle appeared in the dust upstairs, though he hadn't been there. It was as if someone, or something, was marking territory, leaving a message only he could see. The house was leaving him signs, making him question his sanity. Every new clue felt like a puzzle piece, but the picture they formed was more terrifying than he could admit. He considered leaving, but stubbornness kept him there. He told himself it was curiosity, but deep down, he knew it was fear of what might follow him if he ran. He had to know what was happening. The urge to uncover the truth was stronger than his fear, driving him to search every corner, every shadow. The house felt alive, breathing around him. Floorboards shifted beneath his feet, and the air seemed to pulse with a life of its own, as if the house was watching his every move. He was a prisoner in his own home. The doors felt heavier, the windows more distant, as if the house itself was closing in, determined to keep him inside. The warnings from the village echoed in his mind. He remembered their hushed voices, their fearful glances, and wondered if he should have listened. The house was playing with him. Every night brought a new game, a new test of his resolve, as if it delighted in his confusion and fear. He couldn't ignore it any longer. The whispers grew louder, the shadows bolder, and the sense of being watched became impossible to deny. He had to find answers. The mystery consumed him, and he knew he couldn't rest until he uncovered the truth behind the house's secrets. He had to face the darkness, no matter what waited for him on the other side. On the sixth day, Marcus searched the house from attic to basement. The attic was empty, just dust and old furniture. The basement door was nailed shut, as if to keep something in or out. He pried it open with a crowbar, each nail increasing his dread. The final nail gave way, and a wave of cold, musty air hit him. Stairs led down into blackness. The silence was absolute, swallowing all sound. Marcus's heart pounded, but he couldn't turn back. He had to know what the house was hiding. He clicked on his flashlight and descended. The air grew colder, the smell of decay stronger. At the bottom, a small dirt room waited. In the center, a single wooden chair, facing the stairs. And on the chair, a leather-bound notebook. The basement was empty, except for the chair and the notebook. Footprints in the dust led to and from the chair. The chair was clean, as if someone had just been there. Marcus picked up the notebook, its leather cracked but well preserved. It felt heavy with secrets. Why seal away an empty room with only a chair and a book? He hesitated, then opened the notebook. The first page was dated 50 years ago. He braced himself for answers he might not want. He began to read. The notebook was a frantic journal from the last tenant, its pages filled with desperate scrawls and warnings. Each line seemed to tremble with fear, as if the very act of writing had been a battle against panic. The man described the same hope, the same unease, the same haunting sense of dread that Marcus had felt since his first night in the house. Each entry grew more desperate. Shadows moving in the corners, faces appearing in mirrors, the unshakable sense of being watched at all hours. The house, he wrote, was alive, learning from its guests, growing more cunning with every passing night. "It makes a record of me," the man wrote. "It wants to keep me." The words seemed to pulse with terror, as if the notebook itself was warning Marcus. The final entry was a desperate warning. Never stay a full 7 nights, no matter what. The handwriting was jagged, almost torn into the page. On the seventh night, it finishes the recording. You become a new shadow, a new echo. The house claimed its guests, turning them into something else. Run before the seventh night ends. Marcus's blood ran cold as he realized the truth behind the warning. He checked his watch. Tonight was his sixth night. The seventh was beginning, and the air felt heavier, charged with a sinister energy. He slammed the notebook shut, panic rising in his chest, heart pounding as the house seemed to close in around him. Everything fit. The house wasn't haunted by old ghosts or memories. It was making new ones, trapping the souls of those who stayed too long, adding to its collection. He turned the notebook over, hands shaking, desperate for answers or hope. Tucked in the back was a fresh page, today's date, and a single line in his own handwriting. Night 6. Marcus found the notebook. He hadn't written it, but the ink was unmistakably his. The house was recording him now. He had to escape before he became its next story, its next shadow. Terror surged through Marcus as he dropped the notebook. The house knew everything. He bolted up the stairs, desperate to escape. The silence was suffocating, the air thick with dread. He burst outside, running for his truck. Freedom was just steps away. Then he heard it. A slow, heavy dragging sound from the second floor. Scrape, drag, scrape, drag. Something was coming down the stairs, moving toward him. Marcus froze, caught between the dark woods and the house that wanted to keep him. The dragging reached the top of the stairs, paused, then continued down. The house was finishing its story, and Marcus was the final page.